This previously uploaded video now includes our 2024 winter testing. If this is your first time watching, welcome and please enjoy. If you're returning for our winter test results, you can use the chapters feature to jump straight to that section right after our road, wet, and dry results summary.
All right, it's time for our annual Ultra High Performance All Season Tire Test. And UHPL season tires, they're designed to deliver the maximum dry and wet traction and handling, while also still delivering some kind of light snow capability, right?
Exactly. And we've kind of assembled the who's who of Ultra High Performance All Season tires out here today. We'll test them on the road and on the track and the dry and the wet to see how they differentiate from each other and maybe see who has what it takes to stand out from the crowd.
So in addition to being a best of the best, who's who type test, this is also fun because it's the official debut of our new BMW 3 Series test vehicle. One of the main reasons we bought this car was for testing ultra high performance all season tires and to address an existing and still growing trend that we see out there. It's an all-wheel drive 3 Series. It's an X-Drive.
Exactly, and much like the car, these are performance tires, so they have to perform well. But first and foremost, they're street tires, so they need to be comfortable for the daily drive and commute. So I think you know what that means, DJ.
Well, of course I do. Road rides.
Exactly. So first things first, let's go see how they do on the road.
This is the BF Goodrich G-Force Comp 2 AS Plus.
I gotta say like that, get some energy.
This is the BF Goodrich G-Force Comp 2 AS Plus.
You feel every undulation in the concrete. It's not super disrupting,
right?
But it's there. Yes, it's a firm hit,
right,
but it rounds that last little tip of that bump off. It's almost satisfying the way it takes like the sharper bumps.
And then in terms of noise, regardless of the type of surface that we're driving over, there is kind of always this underlying sort of tone.
I like the tones. I like the lower frequency of the tones if I had to choose.
All right, steering.
You're gonna have to put in some work to turn this tire, and I appreciate that. It's not all over the place. It's not this light, loose, super responsive tire. It's a firm, beefy, appropriately responding tire. It's nice.
Bridgestone Potenza Sport AS. First, I feel quite a bit of up and down vertical motion, but also it's pretty well rounded over and, dare I say, even soft. I mean, it's not quite to that level, but it's an odd mixture of characteristics.
It almost gets kind of unsorted.
Noise. What do you think about noise?
It's kind of got that medium, mid-frequency pitched tone, cyclicality.
Cyclicality? No, I don't think it's a tality. But what about steering?
Well, dare I say it's a little low for category. I expect a little more heft, a little more response, like that on-ramp back there. I want it to load up. This is an ultra high performance all season tire. I want it to load up. I want it to give me some feedback mid-corner. Right. And it's just not doing that for me. It's not doing it on the off-ramp. It's even here, tracking straight ahead. It feels just kind of loosey-goosey.
This is the Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus. It really feels kind of like ride and comfort focused compared to a lot of the other tires in the group.
I mean, it's following the road. It's telling me what's going on. Without conveying too much of the harshness or of the imperfection. It says, hey, there's something here, but I'm not gonna make you taste it.
I love that. That was awesome. Noise is kind of the same way. It's like, yeah, of course, there are tones. There's always going to be interaction between the tread pattern and the road surface, but it's just kind of a medium, intermediate volume tone. Again, nothing distinct, nothing really stands out. What do you think about the steering?
Dare I say I want a little bit more, like here, taking this turn, I want a little more feedback, a little more response, more life.
Mm-hmm. It takes the exact same amount of effort from straight dead center to full on lock. It doesn't change in any way. It doesn't build up in response or required effort.
This is the Cooper Cobra Instinct. Let's start with steering since we're on the on-ramp. We're gonna mix it up here. What do you think about steering?
Well, to be completely honest, steering is not the best trait of this tire. It has a bit of a dead spot, right top dead center. It's kind of vague and imprecise there. And then you add an input and it feels like it takes a while for it to respond to what you've done. Like you're kind of leading it with your hands a little bit.
Noise is, again, okay.
Right.
It's perfectly appropriate for category.
Yes.
But it's probably not the best in this test.
And it has this strange combination of firm yet jiggly. You know, a lot of times it's one or the other. You know, tires are tuned to be, you know, composed and a little firm, or soft and a little bit of motion, but this one somehow manages to have a little bit of both.
This is the Falcon Azenis FK460AS. Just came over some bumps on the bridge. Pretty nice.
It is, right? Yeah.
It's mostly controlled, it's firm but not harsh. It kind of strikes that nice balance on the road for a UHPL season tire.
And you know, noise comfort is in a pretty similar situation.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's just right for the category. It doesn't have anything that stands out. It doesn't make any, you know, untoward noises. Nothing that really is, you know, annoying or noticeable. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, it's like, okay, ride, check. Noise, check.
Steering and on-road handling, it is direct. It's in kind of lockstep with my hands. There's no delay, no weird, you know, buildup of effort.
It just needs a little bit more life. I need a little bit more sport. This is ultra high performance. Also, this is the highest level of performance for an all-season tire. I want a little bit more.
This is the General G-Max AS07. Over the bumps, I'm feeling a little bit of up and down, a little bit of motion. It's pretty firm. It's category appropriate. It's good. What do you think about noise?
Yeah, I thought it was, again, good for the category. It did have some artifacts. I actually heard some artifacts on coarse concrete as well. But again, mostly even, not too high a volume.
And what about the steering?
It has a little more heft, which some of you know, the tires in the test so far have been missing a little bit right on center. I still want, dare I say, a little bit more out of an ultra high performance all season.
I think you dare say it. I think you're allowed to want more.
I want more. But that said, it is good. It tracks straight, it tracks evenly, it responds, it feels weighty.
This is the Michelin Pilot Sport All Season 4. It's a little stiff. You feel a lot of bumps. Nothing inappropriate, but it doesn't hide the fact that it's a performance tire, right?
Which could be argued is kind of a good thing. People like to feel everything. That's road feel. You pay a lot of money for that in a lot of cars. I'm saying it's a little too much.
And another thing we wish it hid a little better is tread interaction with the road, especially on smooth surfaces.
Especially on smooth
surfaces, yeah. You know, the tread pattern has a lot of features to it, presumably for light snow traction, and they create some noise. I called it kind of a whir type sound, or maybe a warble. Do you want to do the warble?
Nope.
How do you feel about the steering?
It's good, it's accurate, it's precise. I demand better steering response.
You demand? Oh my goodness. Look at us making demands.
Maybe it's the vehicle, but I feel like I am entitled to more steering response because of some of the other sacrifices I'm making.
Pirelli P0 AS Plus 3. It's good. It's good at all three of our on-road criteria. Ride quality, man, it is comparable to some Grand Touring all-season tires. I'll go right out there and say it. It rounds over bumps nicely. It's almost soft.
It's quiet. If there's no texture to the road,
the wind noise is louder than the road noise. Yeah.
It's got the almost unavoidable resonance on the cross-cut concrete. You're not going to hide from that. It's impossible. Even the touring tires do it, but this thing would give a lot of touring tires a run for their money.
Steering too. Here we are getting on the on-ramp. It's natural, it's linear, it responds, you know, with exactly the response that you want from the input that you've given it.
It's not super hefty, super sporty, which I've said that several times. That's what I want out of this, but it is so good within its own kind of not super hefty, sporty feel.
This is the Vredestein Hypertrack All Season. Ride quality, it's good. It's borderline great. It's not up to the level of the best tire in this test, but otherwise it's pretty good. Noise comfort is kind of the same deal. There's a little bit more volume, a little bit more, you know, distinct tones, but we're talking small amounts and just enough that when you added all of that together, it dropped down a half point.
How about the steering?
Steering is good. It's not quite as glowing a review as we gave it for ride and noise, but again, still, it's still good. Are the days of the like performance first, ultra high performance all season tires, is that behind us?
As long as they have the grip and they have the handling, like on the track for like harder maneuvers, you know, or or just kind of sportier driving than what we're going to do out here on the public roads, or at least in our area, I'm fine with that, I think. I think I'm fine with that.
Wet traction is important, and why ultra high performance all season tire drivers may not necessarily need all those wet handling components, most if not all value the safety component.
Yes.
And that is, making the corner or stopping in time, for something on the road.
Right, and these are all-season performance tires. But wet traction and wintertime traction are in direct conflict with one another when it comes to tire design and engineering. So our testing out here will give us our first glimpse into how this group of tires manages that trade-off.
Yeah, so we'll test their braking capabilities and then their lateral traction capabilities. And then we'll do our handling loop that kind of lets us see how they put those two traction attributes together. That'll give us a glimpse into how the tire may feel in an emergency situation on the road.
Yes.
In our 60-0 braking, the Cooper Cobra Instinct delivered impressive longitudinal grip, with the Michelin and Falcon stopping a few feet further. Mid-pack, the Pirelli, General, Continental, and BF Goodrich stopped the car under the 140-foot mark. Beyond that, the Vredestein and Bridgestone both needed 145 feet to get the job done. Around the wet skid pad, the Cooper and Pirelli were neck and neck at 0.78 Gs, although the Cooper fared significantly better in the standing water lateral traction testing. The Continental and General both delivered 0.75 Gs of lateral traction, with the Michelin close behind at 0.74. All three delivered appropriate standing water lateral traction, with the General losing some ground on the flooded surface. The Falcon and BF Goodrich had similar issues in the deeper water, but also seemed to be missing some compound grip as well, pulling 0.72 Gs around the wet skid pad. With what felt like significantly less mechanical grip, the Vredestein and Bridgestone rounded out the group at 0.71 and 0.69 Gs respectively on the skid pad, which no doubt didn't do them any favors once the deeper water made the job that much harder.
Combining its impressive wet traction and performance-oriented handling traits, the Cooper Cobra Instinct put down wet laps that not only felt significantly faster, but truly were.
And this is awesome.
It's so good.
That's refreshing. That's refreshing to say.
Yes, I agree.
Everything is bright, it's responsive, it's got great traction.
It's so good. It is so good. And I have no problem that you stole everything that I wanted to say, because I'm happy to repeat it.
The Pirelli and Continental were no slouches either around the wet circuit, laying down quick, but arguably more importantly, consistently easy laps.
This is the Pirelli P0 AS Plus 3.
This is fantastic.
It is fantastic. It feels so driver focused.
Yeah.
It just does what you want when you want it to. It doesn't have the outright grip of, say, the two strongest tires in the test.
Here's a hot take.
Ooh, I'm ready. I like hot takes.
You don't need it. I don't need that extra traction, and it's perfectly capable. Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus. This thing feels massively capable.
Ooh,
And
massively.
quote.
Big words. You're not wrong. Just the grip that this thing provides is genuinely impressive. I mean, we're getting a little hyperbolic here, but I mean, for this category, for a tire that is expected to, drive in the snow, offer traction in the snow and last 40 to 50,000 miles, the fact that it has this much wet grip, well done.
A fraction of a second later, the General and Michelin crossed the line.
This is the General G-Max AS07. What do you think? What are your thoughts?
It's good. It's fine.
It's good. All of that build up and we get, it's good. You know what? I liked the steering. I thought it was pretty pointy. It felt pretty balanced. It felt like maybe it kind of over-indexed in the steering related components and the braking was just a little bit of a letdown. And because of that, even though the steering felt nice, there were times that it didn't quite get me down to apex the way that I wanted it to. Michelin Pilot Sport All Season 4. It feels nice. It feels good. It feels capable and balanced.
I am currently driving this tire and I 100% agree. It's capable, it's sharp. I would still like a little more out of the steering out here. Even in the wet, you can kind of feel it's not as sharp or sporty as I would like. But again, it's predictable, it's easy to drive, it's quick.
The final four of the test had some troubles putting their grip to work in the dynamic maneuvers on track, while the Bridgestone and Vredestein were faced with the added difficulty of already operating at a traction deficit.
BF Goodrich G-Force Comp 2 AS Plus. It feels good, it's nice to drive. It's not quite to the level of the best in the test, though, right? I mean, objectively, subjectively, it's good.
It's mid-pack. You know, we know it has the objective traction needed,
Right.
but just the way it puts everything together out here is just fine. It's okay.
This is the Falcon Azenis FK460 AS.
A little more tail out, a little more, less useful tail out than I would expect, especially on our all-wheel drive platform here. It's fine. It communicates well, which is the absolute plus. I feel like we say that a lot about Falcons, and this is no exception. It's telling me what's going on.
Bridgestone Potenza Sport AS.
I want more grip. I deserve more grip.
I was braking so much sooner, slowing down so much more, you know, being patient before I get back to throttle. It's just, you had
You have
to
time to think about it.
it.
You have the time to think about it too.
Good thing.
Yeah.
So,
The Fredestein Hypertrack all season.
knowing what else there is in this test, knowing what else we've driven, I have to admit, I am a little bit disappointed. You know, I feel it stepping out at the rear. I feel it pushing at the front. It doesn't let me do what I want it to do. It's fine. It's adequate. It's acceptable. It's not exemplary in any way.
These are ultra high performance all season tires. They're not extreme performance summer, they're not even max performance summer. But even so, performance drivers don't always want to switch back and forth between dedicated summer and winter tire setups.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Many don't, but they still want that good performance when the roads are clear. And manufacturers recognize that. They know they need to delight these customers when the weather's nice, kind of for that fulfilling experience.
Yeah, and that's a tough series of compromises that they have to juggle, and that's one of the reasons that we test out here on the dry track. We start out with braking and lateral traction, and then we see how each tire puts it all together in the form of dry handling laps.
Dry braking was tightly grouped for the most part. Only 4 feet on average separated the top 7 tires. The Bridgestone and Fredestein were the only ones missing from the rest of the pack, ultimately 8 to 10 feet further than the leader. Around the skid pad, our team started to notice some more differentiation. That group of stragglers still put down the lowest lateral traction figures, but added the Falcon to their ranks at 0.84 Gs. The BF Goodrich and Michelin stepped it up from there to 0.85 Gs, with the Continental in general pulling a respectable 0.86. Finally, at 0.87 Gs, the Pirelli and the Cooper delivered test-leading lateral dry grip that would no doubt assist them around the handling course.
Lap times shook out, for the most part, how the lateral traction figures indicated they might. The Pirelli and Cooper both crossed the line first in just under 30 seconds.
All right, Pirelli P0 AS +3.
It is the driver's tire of the group. It doesn't have, let's get it out of the way, it doesn't have the best grip. It's not earth-shattering, but it's just so easy to maximize everything that it has. It's balanced, it's willing, it's eager. You know, it doesn't understeer, it doesn't oversteer. It just steers, it's just neutral. It goes exactly where you want it to.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, no, you're right. It dials back maybe the ultimate traction, the ultimate performance for a little more elegance, a little more sophistication. The Cooper Cobra Instinct. It's got the grip.
it does,
The Cooper's
doesn't
got
it?
the grip.
Yes, it does.
Everything feels bright, responsive. You agree?
Oh, I like it. It feels very athletic, very, willing and able to do what we're asking of it. Yeah, it's good.
For me, it was interesting. It's almost like the tire needed a little more slip angle, but it would actually respond to that additional slip angle, so it felt good doing it.
Post 30 seconds found the General and Continental battling for tenths, with the Michelin a fraction behind from there.
The General G-Max AS07, and it feels like you're having a pretty good time over there. What do you think?
It's certainly capable.
Yeah, I felt like it had a lot of good traits. The steering was good, the braking traction was good, the lateral traction was good. It didn't quite put it all together as well as the best in the test, but it was just kind of a hair behind.
The Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus.
I like it.
Yeah.
It feels just kind of happy to be doing this. It's natural, it's intuitive in the way it responds.
Yeah.
I would like maybe a little bit more compound grip.
And I'm with you on a little more compound grip. I feel like it could use just a little more spice out here.
Spicy
to kind of support things out, but it is very good for an ultra high performance all season. All right, the Michelin Pilot Sport all season 4. Wheeling, dealing, hitting them corners.
My co-driver has broken, everybody. I like the Pilot Sport All Season 4 on the dry track. It doesn't feel quite as purposeful as maybe, say, the best or the fastest tires in this test, but it gets it all done.
Yeah, I thought it felt a little clinical at times, but again, you're going quick, you're putting down quick times, and it's precise and it's repeatable.
The BF Goodrich found its average just under 30.5 seconds, with the Falcon, Bridgestone, and Vredestein coming in shortly after.
This is the BF Goodrich G-Force Comp 2 AS Plus. From the passenger seat, it feels pretty nice.
It's capable,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think behind the wheel?
It's got great traction, maybe not quite to the level of the best in the test.
Right. Yep. That's what the objective testing showed us.
And
right?
I feel it out here, but it's very good. It's fun, it's sporty.
Falcon Azenis FK460 AS. And I can even tell from over here, we are moving around quite a bit more than some of the more athletic tires that we've tested. Why don't you tell us about this, Brent?
The grip is fine out here, but instead of just like understeering or oversteering, it's like four-wheel pushing. It's almost useful. It's trying to be useful. It's just not.
Bridgestone Potenza Sport AS. The traction is down. You can feel it. It wants to smear around more. It wants to move the entire car around more.
Things feel delayed. They feel slower to respond. Not just in quick steering inputs, but in just that. Even just like slow, deliberate inputs, just like I'm not turning as quickly as I thought I would be.
Correct. Just everything does not react as well as the more athletic feeling tires. Vredestein Hypertrack All Season. Can you hear me over the understeer?
Lower levels of grip, lower levels of response. It's very easy to get behind in the slalom, which is not encouraging me to go any faster. It's not terrible, it's not inappropriate for category, but it's probably the lowest in this test.
I mean, ultra high performance all season tires on an all-wheel drive 3 Series, that really hits the mark for the segment.
Absolutely. We found some real distinct personalities out here. You know, some that did great on the track and left a little to be desired out on the road, and some that were really comfortable on the street, but frankly, really kind of missed the mark here in the wet and the dry on the track.
Right. A select few kind of did everything pretty well, and one stood out above all the others.
Yes.
We can't emphasize enough how well the P0 AS Plus 3 did. It earned the highest subjective score in every metric we evaluate.
Yeah, well done. So let's kind of summarize what we found.
On the road, our team had little to fault the Pirelli P0 AS Plus 3 with. It scored the highest in every metric on the street. The ride was controlled and comfortable. Its steering was the right mix of response and weight, and the noise was frankly excellent and rivaled many top-tier touring tires. The rest of the frontrunners were a mild step back, with the Potenza Sport AS, Azenis FK460 AS, G-Max AS07, Hypertrack All Season, and Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus all delivering very good road manners. While still appropriate for ultra-high performance all-season tires, the G-Force Comp 2 AS Plus and Pilot Sport All Season 4 stood out as missing the refinement of their rivals. Finally, rounding out the group was the Cobra Instinct, which at times made no apparent effort to conceal the fact that it's a performance tire first and foremost.
If you prioritize wet grip, which is usually a positive trait in the ultra-high performance all-season tire category, the Cooper Cobra Instinct delivered that grip in spades and feels good doing it too. Right there with it though, objectively and subjectively, is the venerable Pirelli, once again delivering a balanced, highly executed performance. Right on its heels, the popular category benchmark, Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus, continues to impress in the wet. From there, the Michelin, General, and BF Goodrich all delivered solid grip and good driving dynamics. The Falcon was mostly satisfying and maintained category-appropriate grip, but might not excite the enthusiast driver. The Bridgestone and Vredestein, however, underperformed in the category, with marginal grip and just okay handling characteristics at the limit. Enjoyable driving and capable grip when the roads are clear aren't just for summer-only tires, and once again the Pirelli made that clear. In the middle of the group was packed tightly with each delivering enjoyable driving dynamics and confident grip. However, once again we wanted more from the Falcon, Bridgestone, and Vredestein. They got the job done, but didn't seem to enjoy doing it, at least on our track and our car.
In our overall combined ratings, with all metrics averaged, the Pirelli was the clear leader. Once in a while, when we total up everything, we're occasionally surprised by which tire comes out on top, but this time it was no shock. The well-balanced Continental followed along, with what was somewhat the dark horse General. The Michelin, Cooper, and BF Goodrich found solid places in the middle, with the Cooper particularly not apologizing for its track-focused design. While good on the road, the Falcon, Bridgestone, and Vredestein left a bit too much on the table on the track, which ultimately dropped their overall rating.
And now it's time to find out how each tire in this test lives up to the all-season part of the category name. We've tested braking traction on polished ice at our local skating rink. Then we headed north to a dedicated winter testing facility where we evaluated acceleration and braking traction on packed snow, and we used a dedicated handling loop to find out how each tire performs up to and well beyond the limits of traction.
Yeah, and we found some big swings in performance, which goes to show even on an all-wheel drive vehicle with tires in the same performance category, it really comes down to the tire, the individual tire, to make the difference.
The Bridgestone and Continental tied for the top spot on the ice, with each requiring 43.2 feet to bring the vehicle to a stop from 12 miles per hour. The majority of the other tires were grouped very tightly and still close to the leaders, with 44 to 47 foot braking distances. The Cooper and Falcon were at the back of the pack, braking 10 to 12 feet further than the best in the test. We test 0 to 12 miles per hour acceleration and 25 to 0 braking in the snow, and we measure both in feet, so we report the distance required to accelerate from a stop to 12 miles per hour and the distance needed to bring the vehicle to a rest from 25. This allows us to add both measurements together for a single number that's representative of each tire's straight line traction in the snow. Looking at the acceleration numbers, you can see they're pretty similar, with about a half a car length separating the group, which is common with all-wheel drive vehicles. Where we really start finding separation is in the braking, which isn't really impacted by the all-wheel drive. When considering the overall distance, the Pilot Sport All Season 4 led the way, followed closely by the Potenza Sport AS and Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus. A sizable group took between 112 and 120 feet to accelerate and brake, and the Azenis FK460 AS and Cobra Instinct were both way behind the rest, requiring 140 and 150 feet respectively.
Our subjective handling evaluation and recorded lap times for each tire tell us the rest of the story. While acceleration and braking traction may be a tire's most obvious winner capabilities during the day-to-day drive, how they turn and behave up to and beyond the limit are arguably the most important for ultimate safety. The Potenza Sport AS was at the top of our subjective ratings, and it delivered the fastest lap by a full second thanks to confident traction in every direction. The Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus didn't have the outright grip or the inherent drivability of the Bridgestone, but it was a solid winter performer nonetheless. The Hypertrack All Season was easy and intuitive to drive, and the Pilot Sport All Season 4 suffered from a slight imbalance of characteristics, with lateral traction that was a noticeable step down from its longitudinal. From there, the General, Pirelli, and BF Goodrich were acceptable and mid to lower mid-pack. The Azenis FK460 AS and Cobra Instinct couldn't muster the athleticism to overcome the significant traction deficit. They both gave our drivers very little to work with and required gentle, calculated inputs to remain on course.
Here are the results again from our road, wet, and dry evaluation. When we add in the winter test results, the Continental Extreme Contact DWS 06 Plus edged out the Pirelli P0 AS Plus 3, which of course was the standout from our warm weather testing. The disproportionate wintertime capability of the Potenza Sport AS allowed for a significant ascent in the standings, and the Cooper Cobra Instinct was dragged down to the bottom by its lack of traction in cold weather testing.
So there it is, the complete all-encompassing evaluation for the best ultra-high performance all-season tires on the market. We hope this test has been helpful, informative, maybe even entertaining. Keep your eyes open for more UHP all-season tire tests in the future, and until then, as always, thanks for watching.